morning, sports fans from all around the globe. I'm your host, Jeff Dawson, the Breakfast Bankroll. And today, from Cape Cod to Cancun, from Tampa to Taipei, from Vegas to the Vatican, we got you covered from the sports market to last night's kind of funny ending in the NFL. Today's MLB market and much, much more. Today we're going to dive into maybe a couple look-ahead games in college and in the NFL. But without further ado, the man from Tampa himself, the Palm Tree State, the one, the only, Mr. Scott Eweb. What is up, Scotty?
Morning, Jeff. Good to see you. Didn't get blown away. Everything looks like you didn't have to float out on a raft, and you're all good to go.
Yeah, it's kind of funny because they didn't really hype it up earlier in the week. It looked like it was going to be a direct hit, but again, it was a Cat 1 the whole time. We're not talking Cat 3s, 4s, and 5s. And then it just stayed to the left. There are some spots, Rhode Island, west of us in Springfield and, west of Boston, some serious damage. And when you're talking 4, 5, 6, 8, 9, 10 inches of rain can cause a lot of damage and flash flooding. But as Gloria Gaynor said, we survived and we're here to carry on and to pass the torch. Here at ECSI, we ended up on the minus side. We are human after all. We closed the week minus two units. We could not get our action parlay through yesterday. We got the first leg in, and after that, the Padres just crashed and burned. I mean, if we were writing a movie right now, it definitely would be the Titanic. I think they move that. They take the torch there over from the Red Sox. And our little dog of the day to close it out would have been the Angels. And it's funny how baseball works because you put up that crooked number in the first inning, and it's just amazing how the pitchers settle in, and the rest is history. But overall, anyone watching and listening here today, congrats that we're here yesterday, 3-0 over here. It's just hard work. It's dedication. It's the grinding of the process. And hats off to you, Scotty. And thoughts on yesterday?
I just think that these teams that are trying to learn how to win, they are stumbling, right? So Toronto gets beat by Detroit. Those are things that can't happen when you got a team streaking. When you got the Yankees running on what is it? I don't know, 11-1 or something. You cannot lose to Detroit, and I get it. Detroit's almost 500 this year, so they are playing amazingly well compared to what they used to be, and maybe that AJ Hinch guy's pretty good. But the point of it is that you still have to beat the also rans of the division. They're not going to be in that spot, right? So you can't lose those games. And they're trying to figure it out, but I don't know that they have the guys that are there. This Manny Machado guy, he comes from Baltimore, and I get it. He was probably part of the good teams that they had there, but I don't think he ever won anything. So when it comes to, he's a good talent, he's a good player, but at the same time, he didn't know how to win. So where, this big thing that cracks me up, and I hear it all the time, the Dodgers are worried about the Padres. For God's sakes, just stop. It's not even a rivalry to the Dodgers. If you go back and look at how many times the Dodgers have beat the Padres in the last 5 years, it's probably 100 times. And they play each other 20 times a year, 19. So they don't look at the Padres as a rival. The Giants are the rival. And then, of course, the Giants are good this year. So all these guys that are sitting here talking about the Padres and the Dodgers. Okay, the Dodgers don't give a crap about the Padres. Now, the Padres certainly care about the Dodgers, but that's not the way it works, right? You got the Yankees and the Red Sox. That goes back for years, and the Cubs and the Cardinals and teams like that. That stuff happens a long time. But right now, Until we can get the Padres over the hump and they can win something, then they're one of those teams that are just chasing to be chasing. You gotta. I guess you separate the men from the boys, right? And this is one of those lines where if you don't know how to win, you're not going to be a man until you can figure it out.
Yesterday, favorites 7-6 over 6-1. Some of the big dogs: Mariners plus 175, Tigers plus 230, Arizona plus 160, and the Phillies plus 149. We call it Quicksand Sunday for a reason. And when you are chasing and trying to get even or put a dent into the number, these things happen. The day before the favorites were 12-3. So when you get into these Sundays and these dream matchups, they tend not to come into intuition. And I'll go to the NFL right now. And NFL dogs 9-5 against the spread. One pick 'em. The unders 10-5, and overall 24-8 at a 75% clip. But what I really wanted to bring up is right here, the 49ers and Chargers, the last game. Final score 15-10, and that was your halftime score. 49ers opened up at 4.5 yesterday, well, for the week, and they were steamed to 6.5. So again, the public getting stung holding that 6.5, that 6, that 5.5. I heard and saw a lot of 5.5s yesterday with the Chargers. Missed extra points, missed field goals, yada yada yada. But the point again is when you get in, when do you buy? A tip for everyone watching and listening here: just follow social media. Go on Twitter. Follow a dozen, 2 dozen of the loudest blowhards out there, okay? And when you see 70, 80, 85% all holding the same ticket, just go the other way. I can guarantee you will profit at the end of the season.
Yeah, we talk about it a lot, and the sad truth is that you and I have been around for a long time, and we've been together for a long time, and the problem is that you call them blowhards, but these are our competition, right? These are people that are somehow getting an audience, and somehow they are getting traction to whatever they're putting out, because there's a validity to being in the game for as long as we have, and there's a validity to what we do. And no one's perfect, and we have our ups and we have our downs, and sometimes you have long downs and sometimes you have long ups. So, but that's all part of the game. That's all part of what we do. And when you sit here and you see some of these flash pan type guys out there doing what they do, it's terrible for the learning player or the new player, because a lot of these states are just now legal, and the people want to get involved. It's not this thing where you're standing in the corner anymore and doing stuff in a trench coat. This is you can wear your polo shirt and walk right up to the window, and you can make legal bets. So the reality of it is there's still shim-shammy stuff out there, and I can't sit here and tell you that we're the best in the world and all that stuff, because that's not what we do. But I will tell you that what we do is very real and it's very transparent. We tell you why and how, and we do the homework. So when you sit there and you think about what those guys do, they just want an audience, and they just want some money, and they want some guy to pay them picks, and they want all this other stuff to go on. Not that paying for picks is a wrong thing, but paying for picks with the wrong guy for the wrong reason, that's ridiculous. So that just shows you how starved the public is to actually make wagers and try to think they're doing the right thing. To listen to people that don't have any knowledge of what's going on. And, all we have to do is just sit there and listen to them for a couple minutes, and we're like, holy crap, people listen and buy this stuff. And that's what happens. And then all of a sudden, 4 months later, they're no longer around. And you lost your money, and that guy's going out and buying a car.
Or changed his name and he comes up as someone else. Short menu today in the MLB. I do have three games checked off. Um, Two really good, I want to say pitch and matchup, but battles here. And one I have some questions on that you might be able to help us with. The first one, 707 start, rotation number 905, 906. That's the White Sox with Lance Lynn, some calling Cy Young this year. At Toronto with Manoah, I think the shine is off the Jays at this point, but we'll talk about that. The other one, and this is an eye opener. Yankees at Atlanta, two of your hotter teams in MLB. Rotation number 911, 912. Montgomery versus No. Atlanta opened up at 105, and I'm seeing them at 110, 112. So, again, my eyes are like, wow, they did open up as a favorite. I know they're home. I know they're hot. And then come the Yankees. And here's the other one, which kind of reeks to me here. Seattle at Oakland, rotation number 909, 910. Gonzalez versus Blackburn. Oakland opened up at 107 and now steamed to 125. More on your thoughts there on the Blackburn. Memory serves me, he hasn't pitched in a while, where my memory is, and you'll have those numbers for me. But those three games that I talked about, anything pop out to you there?
Yeah, I actually played two of them.
Okay.
But that White Sox game, I didn't play just because, we talked about it yesterday with the San Francisco Giants game. That we said, hey, that's going to be the best game on the board. It's got a good pitching matchup. This Logan Webb guy, holy crap! And all of a sudden there was a 2-1 game yesterday. So we thought it was going to be more of a coin flip. And again, this White Sox Toronto game, I see it as sort of a coin flip game, with the edge being with the White Sox. And the reason that there's an edge to the White Sox is twofold. Lance Lynn has been there. He's done it. He's a war horse. He's kind of off two bad games in a row. He doesn't necessarily go out and throw 3 or 4 bad games in a row. So I expect him to pitch pretty well. What I don't like about the White Sox is the Rays have kind of held them down on hitting. And Manoah's a good pitcher. But Manoah's off of his worst game of the season. So I expect him to pitch pretty well. So in this particular game, I think it's going to be kind of a middle of the road type average game, 4-3, 3-4, something like that. However, there is an edge when it comes to this game in the bullpen. And if that's the case, that you have a 1-run game or a tie game, then in the second half of this game, you've got a pretty significant White Sox advantage, because that bullpen is much better than Toronto's bullpen. So I kind of looked at this and said, this is a game I could play, but let's see if I can find something else. And you mentioned the Yankee game. And one of the things about the Yankee game that I like is that Yanoa is pitching out there again today. And he's one of those guys that doesn't have dominant stuff, but for whatever the reason, he gets a lot of called strikes. So that means guys haven't seen him that often. But the truth is, the Yankees have seen him once, not this year, but they've seen him. And when they saw him, they beat the crap out of him. That doesn't mean they're going to do that again. It's just that means that this is not somebody new to them that they've never seen before. Montgomery is a steady as you go, good pitcher, not great pitcher, but well above average pitcher. We talk about game score 60 being that's where you want to be. He's game score 55 on the year with 20 starts. So it's really good. So it's not bad in any way. And he's off of a game score 45. So that means his last outing was not good. So we expect him to do well. And Atlanta, for whatever the reason, against left-handed pitchers, they rank like 20th in baseball. So they're not the best against left-handed pitching. I suspect that Noah is going to be one of those guys. He pitched yesterday, or the last time out last week was the first time he's pitched since April. Because remember, when we talked about it, he's the guy that punched his hand against the wall and broke his knuckle. So he hasn't been able to pitch for a while. So he went out. He did pitch 5 innings. So he's not going to pitch much more than that again against the Yankees. And the reason being is because he's not built up. So that then says, okay, the Yankees are going to get to Atlanta's bullpen no matter how good what pitches. So again, that's going to put the Yankees in an edge position because the Braves bullpen, even though it's been pitching better, isn't the cream of the crop. And if you can get the Yankees as a small dog, a team that's winning as much as they are, I kind of like that idea. And then the last one I think you talked about was the Seattle-Oakland game, and I played this game. Well, I played that other game on the Yankees. I bet the Yankees, and I also bet on Seattle today. And what I guess people don't really realize, and I didn't realize, Gonzalez, Marco Gonzalez, he's like he's just like a guy that throws 50 miles an hour, but puts it right where he wants it. And then when he doesn't, he gets smashed. And when he does, nobody can hit him. Well, the truth is the second half of the season, he's been one of the best pitchers in baseball, and I don't think people have even realized it. Of course, I didn't go back in and dig into Marco Gonzalez's numbers, but being this is a matchup scenario, over his last 7 starts, he's a 61 on the game score. That's 7 starts. That's a month. So that's quality work from Gonzalez, and that doesn't mean that he doesn't get hit, because the truth of the matter, he's not a big strikeout guy. But as long as he's got the ball throwing for strikes, then you're in a situation where he's going to be in pretty good shape, because he has a tendency to lose the strike zone. Blackburn. Now, Blackburn hasn't pitched. Well, he started last week, and he's, I think, the fill-in guy for the guy that got hit in the head, Bassett. So he's pitching for him. And he pitched 5 innings last time out. He threw a game score 50, which is an average number. But his metrics show that he probably didn't pitch that well. So first of all, his xFIP number is 5.73. So that means walks, strikeouts, and home runs. He didn't do very well in that scenario, and you're going to see in a second where it came from. But his Sierra number is a 6.02. His Sierra number is more equivalent to like an earned run average, and more about balls in play making outs. So that's representative that he's going to get hit. So you figure out, how does it do it? Well, he's only got 12% strikeout rate, and 12% is the lowest on the board today. And he's got a 12% walk rate. That's the highest on the board today. So that means that balls are going to be put in play. Guys are going to be on base. The opportunities are there for Seattle, because Blackburn's not one of those guys that's going to go out there and throw the ball at a speed. I looked it up. His fastball average is 91. That danger zone is 90 to 89. Those guys throw 89, 90 miles an hour, they get smashed. And he's just a tick above that. And his pitch that he used last week that was good was a slider. So he's only got 1 positive pitch out of that game from last week, and it was there. So I think you have a better pitching matchup for Seattle. You got a better pitcher for Seattle. He's pitched against Oakland twice this year. His game score was 52 and 55. So above average, nothing special, but above average. And that might be all you need in a game where you've got a pitcher like Blackburn who's going to get hit. And the one significant thing that stands out for Gonzalez today, and remember, Jeff, we talked about win probability added yesterday, and we talked about how that kind of adds up to when the game's on the line, or when there's outs that got to be made, these guys make them. Well, we talked about it over a month. Those guys earn just a little bit here and a little bit there. So it's not unusual to see a 0.45 or a 0.50, and that's a pretty decent number. Well, over the last 7 starts, Marco Gonzalez is 1.47, one of the highest ones that I've seen in a 30-day stretch. That means when the guys are on base, when he needs to get an out, he's getting it. And I like the idea that's by far the highest one on the board today. And that puts him in a meaning that even if his stuff's not good, he's going to be hard to score on. And that's kind of some of the definition that you look for when you can't find things in other ways. It's that kind of weird area that some of these guys have it and some of them don't. And some of them have it for a certain time, and then they lose it for a little while. And that's why I like to look at it from that level. So I like Gonzalez today. I played him. I wrote it down. Oh, I got plus 113, and I got the Yankees at plus 102 today. Those were my 2 plays.
All right. We could change gears here quickly here. Tonight we do have one NFL game on the docket we can talk about. And let's see if we pop that up right now. Survey set. And they're showing, yeah, let's go back up here. There you go. Jacksonville at New Orleans, 8 p.m. start. Rotation number 431, 432. We had an opening line of the Saints minus 3.5, juiced minus 105. Fours across the board. Under over opened at 37 and has been pushed all the way up to 39 and a hook in 40, depending upon where you're shopping. Let me just switch over to here for 1 second, and let me get a quick look here. I was trying to get some, 60-40 split all on the Saints as expected. And I was trying to get a number on the over. Looks about the same as well. Any thoughts on tonight's game, Scotty?
Yeah, I think that this is one of those scenarios that in a regular season game that it's certainly a mismatch. In a game like this, it's kind of interesting because the number one thing you got to figure out is what's the motivation for the team. That's what preseason is all about. So, Jacksonville, they have a new head coach, Urban Meyer. They got a new quarterback. They're trying to establish a culture there. Saying New Orleans isn't trying to do any of those things. They have a new quarterback, but they've both been there, or at least for a year, and the tight end quarterback. That's kind of funny to say, but that guy's been all over the place for several years. So. And the head coach has been there for, I don't know, 13, 14, 15 years now. So the reality is they're not going to go try to win this game, New Orleans. That doesn't mean that they're not a better roster and a better schedule or a better flow all through. When you think about the quarterback rotation and that kind of stuff, they're going to have an edge with New Orleans. Now, having said that, I don't, I understand. What do you say it was from 37 to 39 on the total or something? People are betting it to go over the number.
Yeah, opened at 37 and it's 39 and a half and even 40 at South Point and William Hill right now.
Yeah, I'm not buying the over only because you don't forget that what was Jacksonville known for when they made the playoffs. And I know they're not the same team, but they were known for defense. That was their thing. They had Blake Bortles and all those crazy quarterbacks, and they couldn't score and they couldn't do all this stuff, but they played defense. And the New Orleans Saints, they're one of those teams that always has a pretty good defense. So and I think they're deep and all that stuff. I just look at it from a perspective of Jacksonville is going to probably be the team that tries to score points. They're going to be the team that tries to win the game, and they're going to be the team that tries to do the things that sets them up. And they may even want to look at the quarterback for a lot longer than what New Orleans quarterbacks are going to get looks for. So I like the idea here that you're probably going to be somewhere in the neighborhood of my guess would be is take the under 40 would be my recommendation, just because you got a brand new coach on the other side. They're trying to implement a new offense. And as long as they don't make a whole bunch of mistakes, get short fields and do all kinds of crazy stuff, you might be okay. It's preseason football. So, but next week I think is the week where you're going to see the dress rehearsal games, because that's the last one. There's only 3 this year. What I didn't realize is that there's 3, and then they get that week, and then they start playing. So they're skipping a week. So I think you're going to see these guys, and you're going to see the starters, and they're going to play, and that'll be next week and not this week.
I'm going to go see if we can do this one more time here. Bear with me, brother.
No worries.
Anyone with editing skills and producer skills, give me a holler, please. Thank you. I wanted to bring this up. I want to give everyone a sneak peek here. This is the college schedule, thanks to our friends at Don Best. The weekend, Nebraska and Illinois, Hawaii, UCLA, UTEP, New Mexico State, UConn versus Fresno State. And then the following weekend is the official kickoff. A couple of things that I am kind of intrigued at. Nebraska as a 7-point favorite. The team is in absolute turmoil. They're being investigated as we speak for potentially practices in hidden cornfields. That's kind of a side joke, but due to COVID. So that I don't know which Nebraska teams you're going to get. I think that's a real inflated number. Not that I'd run to the window and play Illinois, but the fact is it's do or die for Scott Frost. And I'm expecting a better team, but we'll see there. The next one's intriguing. It's Hawaii and UCLA, and I tell you why in our mind it's intriguing. UCLA the following week, actually it's Labor Day weekend. No, it would be the following week. I'm sorry. Labor Day weekend. Hosts LSU. Now, if that's not a peekaboo game for UCLA this week, but it also gives Chip Kelly an opportunity to get some reps in, to get the offense flowing. You know you're going to be able to move the ball against Hawaii. And I don't think Chip's going to be showing them the full arsenal. He might want to be holding back for LSU there. That's number 2. And number 3, listen, I know UConn's not good in football. Trust me, I know that. But I can tell you this. There is no team in football that Fresno State should be playing in 27-point favorites. No disrespect to Fresno State and their program. I know I'm expecting a bounce back year for them. But giving up almost 4 touchdowns to UConn, again, I'm not running to the window. I'm just making some observation, some opening numbers. We got plenty of time to dissect those. But I just find 3 of those games pretty interesting on our side. Anything for you, Scotty?
Yeah, I've been trying to do some work on this Nebraska-Illinois game because like you said, you're intrigued by it. I'm intrigued by it. I'm intrigued by the Big Ten this opening week because when have you seen the Big Ten open up with Big Ten conference games? Nebraska, Illinois, Ohio State plays Michigan and Minnesota. These are some weird times in some of these.
Penn State, Wisconsin.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's kind of weird. So it caught me off guard just a little bit, and shame on me for not looking back, all through the summer trying to figure out who's playing when and all that stuff. But I'm busy in baseball during that time. So in looking at this game, what intrigues me is that Illinois now has Brett Bielema as their head coach. They also have a graduate transfer from the University of Michigan to be the quarterback. So this is a team that Lovie Smith coached up last year, and if you remember right, they were pretty good. They beat some teams that they shouldn't have beat and were competitive. For example, they played Nebraska last year. They were 17-point underdogs and beat them outright by 17 points. So it's not like this is a cupboards bear for Brett Bielema team that he's bringing in to have to play Nebraska here, and they were at Nebraska the last time. So the line looked like it opened. I'm guessing at 9.5 is a number that I saw. Now it's down to 7. I guess the question is when do you jump in and what do you figure out and where do you want to be? Because I think this is more of a pick'em kind of game, and I know that sounds a little weird that you'd have Nebraska and Illinois is kind of a pick'em kind of game, but I don't think that you want to wait until that number gets below 7, because then you're not getting the best of the number that you possibly could. You're obviously not getting the best of the number at 7 when you could have got it at 9.5. That said, if you just look at key numbers, the key number is 7 and 10, 9.5 being off of the key number of 10, and a little bit over the key number of 7. So theoretically, any of those numbers in between 7 and 10 are, I don't want to call them dead numbers, but they're not as significant as that 7 and 10. So it never made it to 10, and now it's at 7. So the question becomes: will it bounce back to 7.5 when later on in the week, when you get all these Nebraska people coming in going, holy crap, we're going to beat the crap out of Illinois, and they're going to be laying down the money. So it's an interesting matchup to me. I see this game where, like you said, there's been a lot of pressure on Scott Frost. There's a lot of pressure on Nebraska. Nebraska's got a quarterback that runs all over the place and throws the ball all over the place, and not necessarily in the right direction. He just throws the ball all over the place. Martinez, he's a decent kid and he's a good player, but he's not that Heisman Trophy winning quarterback that I think you think of when you have that running quarterback kind of guy. And in that UCLA Hawaii game that you're talking about, I think opened at 14. It's been bet up to 17. So that's one of those that went from a key number of 14 now to a key number of 17. The question is does it go beyond the 17? So and if it stops at 17, that's what the sharps are going to tell you. They're going to say, okay, this is it, no more. And just like what you said, maybe they're going to be looking for the LSU game the following week. Matchup wise, there's no question UCLA has better athletes. They have a way better quarterback, a quarterback that's been in the system, Robinson, now for a little while. So I would expect this is going to be, I don't want to say that UCLA can go name the score because that's not fair. But I think that if UCLA wanted to, and they were going to go play, I don't know, say UTEP next week or something, this is a game that they could just load up and really say, hey, we're here. We had a great time and we beat a team that somebody's heard of. So I think that you got to watch the number, and the number will tell you where to go. If it goes to 17.5, 18.5, then people aren't afraid. And I don't mean people. It's going to be the wise guys, the better guys, the guys that know what's going on. They're the ones that's going to push it over the 17, because I think the public's going to go and say, hey, I'm going to take it at that number, unless it's right as game day. So and then your UConn game, I didn't, to be honest, I haven't looked at that, other than when I see UConn, I go, okay, I'm not going to go one way or the other, just because there's like 8 million points involved in the game. And Fresno State, I think, is going to be a lot better this year. I just don't, like you said, I don't know if they're really should be, 4 touchdown favorites over anybody, but at the same time, UConn's not very good, Jeff. I'm sorry.
Hey, our sport is basketball, so I can take that with a grain of salt. Edsel made the mistake of his lifetime, of course, because he got that program up and running, and they had a nice run. But he grabbed the bag and the paycheck, went to Maryland, and then he saw that the grass isn't always greener. He stepped into the big time, and he came running back real quick, Scotty, real quick.
Yeah, it's one thing to come from certain schools and then land in the Big Ten, and I get it. You're in Maryland in the Big Ten, and you're not, Ohio State, Michigan, and Penn State, Wisconsin, those kind of teams. But the expectation is you're going to hold your own and you're going to play. So, for example, look what the guy's doing in Indiana. The guy in Indiana is turning that program around. That's a very competitive Indiana football team. And I think Indiana is going to be one of those schools this year that beat some teams that you might not think they will.
So with that said, tomorrow we'll take a further look into the MLB. We'll do a recap on today's action. Again, Scotty, give them your 2 plays for today.
Yeah, I played the Yankees, and I got them at plus 102 with Montgomery, full games. And I played Seattle, Gonzalez plus 113 today. Obviously, the way the trend has been, I'm going to go against the trend a little bit here and all the favorites that have been coming in. So we'll see how that goes. But those are the 2 plays and it's a small board. So kind of hard. And there's one note, just the Arizona pitcher today, his name is Humberto Mejia. This is his first start since August of last year. And when he pitched last year, he got shelled. And his ERA so far in AAA is 6.23. So I don't know that he's going to fare too well. Of course, he's playing the Pirates, and people are piling money on the Pirates, it looked like. And I'm like, I'm not going to pile money on the Pirates. But at the same time, just a note that Mejia has been not real good.
All right. I want to thank everyone for watching today. And if you can do us a favor, just if you haven't already, jump over to YouTube, hit the subscribe button, and turn on the notifications. And the same is at Twitch TV at East Coast Sports Investors as well. What we're trying to do is to build the brand, grow a following, so we can have more interaction and answer more questions. What we're able to do and what we're trying to do here, basically in a nutshell, is to educate, not entertain. Yes, we do crack some jokes and we do have some fun. But with that said, we're here to try to give our advice, give our opinions on what we are seeing. Again, as Scotty said it so well at the start of the show, listen, we're not 100%. We don't win every day. We don't win every week. Shit, we don't win every month. Our goal is, it's a marathon approach. It's a day-to-day grind. And if this is something that you're interested in with your state either already up and legal or getting close, what better way to grab a pen and a piece of paper, start taking some notes, ask some questions. And if you have any of those and you want to shoot us an email, go to East Coast Sports Investors at gmail.com or follow Scotty at Webby20MLB on Twitter, or myself at EC Sports Invest on Twitter. So if you're wagering today, very simply this: always use your head, not your heart. If you have a problem, pick up the phone. There's an 800 number there. There's plenty of people out there just to reach out and ask for help. And with that being said, best of luck today. Always wager amongst your means. Don't get over those ski tips. And myself and Scotty wish you a blessed day, and we look forward to seeing you tomorrow at the same time.